Blood Stalkers, aka The Night Daniel Died, is sort of a Bigfoot movie. You'll see what I mean. It was written and directed by Robert Morgan, who also made In Search of Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Man or Beast, The Mysterious Monsters, and so on. To say he had a special interest in the creature would be an understatement. But those were all documentaries. Blood Stalkers is a work of fiction. First things first, this movie loves its close-up face shots. You could probably edit the whole film into just face shots, and it would still be over an hour long. Also, they filmed in Florida in the summer, and you can tell. My goodness, everyone is so sweaty. I feel bad for them. The whole time I'm just like, take a break and get a shower. When it opens up, we meet two couples going on vacation. Mike, the main character, just inherited a cabin in the Everglades when his parents died, so he wants to go and check it out. He hasn't been here since he was 12, so a lot has changed over the years. At his side is his girlfriend, Kim, played by Toni Crabtree, which, from my research at least, is no relation to the Crabtrees in The Legend of Boggy Creek. There's also Jerry and her boyfriend Daniel, which, giving the original title of this movie, The Night Daniel Died, I'm guessing this won't end so well for him. Of course, they have to stop at the old run-down gas station for directions, and the grumpy old attendant warns them to get out of here and just go back home. But Mike is determined to find this cabin. He owns it now, and some mean old gas station owner isn't gonna stop him. But these guys might. 3 guys surround the car, and, well, they don't look too friendly. This is Pip, Lester, and Jarvis. Fun fact, Jarvis is played by Robert Morgan himself. Anyway, Mike slams on the gas and gets the heck out of there. After a bit of driving around and searching, they find the path that leads to their old cabin. But it's so overgrown that the car doesn't fit. So they just get out and hike the rest of the way. And this is where we get our first glimpse that there's something in the woods watching them. Eventually, they make it to their cabin, which is huge for some rinky-dink cabin in the woods. They let their dog go, run around, and investigate, while the rest prepare to go inside. But Kim sees something in the window. Mike goes in and, after a jump scare, assures her that no one's home. But she swore she saw something inside. Some things also don't add up, like why are there cobwebs and dust all over the place, but the table and chairs are all spotless? It looks like someone, or something, has been living here. There's this really out-of-place scene right here. Daniel and Jerry this whole time have been really goofy and just cracking jokes about each other, almost to the point where it sounds like they're more like brother and sister. But here, things get really deep for a second. Daniel's an entertainer and is always on the road. Jerry is a stripper and she has to work in a club. Neither one likes the other's profession, and they just want to be together, but they don't want to stop what they're doing. It's just really odd that there's this big, deep emotional scene, but then they go right back to making out and goofing around. While Jerry and Dan are doing that, Mike and Kim go skinny dipping. Nothing really important to point out here, except that our main characters need to get their eyes checked, because Bigfoot is right there. Seriously, like 3 feet away from them. Nobody is that unobservant. He jumps in the water and swims after them, but dives under before Mike can see him. So with Kim being creeped out, they both get out of the water and head back to the cabin, pretty quickly. While Mike steps away for a bit, Daniel tells Jerry about how Mike used to be a Marine. During the war, he followed the enemy to a house, and without any care of who could be in there, he blew it up, killing 7 civilians. After that, he had to go spend some time in a mental hospital. Just then, Daniel goes upstairs and goofs around while Jerry gets attacked by a large hairy hand. Mike gets her free, and they all hang out in the middle of the cabin while they hear the beast pounding outside. Mike fires a couple shots at it, and it falls. He opens the door to see that he killed the dog. Okay, usually when a dog dies in a movie, it's a big dramatic scene that's pretty sad. There's a whole website dedicated to if a dog dies in a movie. But here, it's actually kind of funny. Like, you thought you killed a Bigfoot? Nope, just the dog. Oops. So after the attack, they know that they have to get out of there. But when Mike goes to get the car, the tires have been slashed. So they aren't going anywhere. He runs back to the group, and they come up with a plan. Basically for Mike to run back to town and get help, while Daniel stays back and protects the girls.
It's up to you.
In town, the locals aren't too helpful. Most won't even talk to him, and the ones that do refuse to let him use their phone. Not even the pastor is willing to help. Why? What are these people afraid of getting caught up with? Getting no help, Mike runs back to the cabin. But they have their own problems, because, unbeknownst to them, something is upstairs, watching them. And when it shows its face, I don't know if I should run or laugh. Is this our beast? Okay. Oh, wait, there's two of them? While everyone is getting attacked, we hear the church choir singing, and it cuts to Mike running and getting nowhere. I have to admit, and I don't know why, but I love this scene. There's just something about it with the choir music and all the other stuff going on. It's pretty cool. Well, Mike passes out and wakes up the next morning, when finally someone helps him out. It's the town's deputy, who takes him back to the cabin, and the men are greeted with an unwelcome sight. All of Mike's friends are dead, and it looks pretty gruesome. Did Bigfoot do this? Then suddenly, someone's throwing some bags down from upstairs. What's going on here? Mike grabs a shotgun and prepares to shoot this dude? Oh, so you're telling me it was guys in suits the whole time. There was no Bigfoot at all. Mike kills him and the deputy instead of being like, hey man, put the gun down, you just killed somebody. He says it was Lester, a poacher. So, here's what's going on. Lester and his crew, the three guys in the beginning, have been using the cabin as a place to store the animal hides. That's why the cabin's tables and chairs had no dust on them. It's all making sense now. Well, the deputy goes to get help, but doesn't get too far as Jarvis cuts his hand off. And then he kills him. So now, Mike enters battle mode and goes on the hunt. He kills Jarvis pretty quickly. After a bit of back and forth, he axes Pip in slow motion. He hangs all the bodies up in the cabin and waits for their leader, the gas station attendant. When he comes in, he realizes what's going on and makes some pretty silly faces before Mike takes him out too. Mike then stumbles back into town past all the people who wouldn't help him the previous night. And then, I guess he just walks home. So, no Bigfoot this time, but that's okay. We've seen this done in other movies, like Shriek of the Mutilated, where the creature is supposed to be a man in a suit the whole time. But it would have been nice to see the real Bigfoot pop out of the woods or something. And that was Blood Stalkers. I'd say it was okay. It had a lot of really great scenes, and then a whole lot of nothing. I really liked that end cabin scene with all the bodies hanging around. And the twist of it all being just guys in suits was amazingly pretty cool. Although it didn't add anything to the plot. It could have very well just have been the poachers not in suits, and it would have played out the same for our characters. I did like how the whole town was afraid of the bad guys. Heck, even the preacher wouldn't help them out. However, I do think they could have done better on casting Daniel. Now, I think Ken Miller did a great job, but Daniel looks way older than Jerry, so I looked it up. He was born in 1931 and she was 1954, a 23-year difference. But in the end, I think I'm going to have to recommend Blood Stalkers. It's worth a watch. The music is good, it's very 70s. It's got the bad guys who own the town, a main character that you root for, and of course Bigfoot, or at least a guy dressed up like him. I give it 2.5 zoomed in face shots out of 4.
But your mother told me you couldn't wear those little shorts with your nubby knees.
You got a big mouth, satchel butt.